Music for me, it's just a very visceral kind of a thing. Like, especially in our type of music, it's a very kind of a physical performance. You just really dive into it and just kind of let what happens, and just try and put on the best show you can. My relationship with cycling started like any kind of kid does. I had like just a cheap, what we call a department store bike, and I just kind of did that when we went family camping and things like that. And then when I moved to the city from kind of the suburbs where I was living, so I was in my early 20s, and I was like, okay, time for a decent bike. And then that's kind of when it all began. I just really started falling in love with it, and it was a cool way to start exploring the city that I was living in a lot more. I kind of realized, oh, there's quite a cool fitness aspect to this, obviously. You're as good as what you put in, like you are the engine, so I thought that was really cool. So the more fit I got, the better I could use the bike. And then from beyond that, I started getting into kind of the more technical side of it, as far as like the gearing and the tires and that kind of thing, because I'm quite into that with guitar as well, so it's kind of like another way of fiddling with things, because I think the goal for me is to make both of those things disappear. Like the bike kind of becomes part of you, you're just enjoying the ride, or you're just enjoying the show or the song. That's when you almost have the best shows, is when you're not thinking about anything. I just started playing music when I was quite young, about I think 8, and I started playing piano. And then when I was around 12, I started playing guitar, and that's what really got me excited about it. It was just a very old flamenco acoustic guitar that was broken, and my grandpa fixed it for me, and I just started messing around with it. And then I think maybe 6 months or a year later, for Christmas, I got my first electric kind of like little jam pack, and I was like, oh, this is great. And then from there, just, never stopped. When there's nowhere left to hide, we'll be searching for a shortcut. My journey with architects started about 2007. I used to work in an electronics shop, and I was kind of stood around watching. We had like a music channel on TV, and Architects music video came out. Oh, this is pretty cool. Who are these guys? And then a couple years later, we ended up meeting when they came to Canada for the first time. The band I used to play in from Canada, we shared the same Canadian record label at the time, and then just became great friends because it was very similar music. We did some tours together and things like that. And then when the original guitarist left a few years later, I ended up just kind of taking over and playing from there. Like, sometimes life just gives you what you're meant to have at that moment, and if you had done a different path, it may have been more difficult, but if you just kind of trust your intuition, or just things just kind of happen as they're meant to, I think, a lot of the time. So that was the case in this circumstance. Being in a touring band, I think is really amazing, because like we travel more in a year than some people travel in their lifetime, and you really need to live somewhere, I think, to get a feel for a place. But you get little tastes of different cultures around the world, and the amount of people you come across as well. Like traveling, I think, is such an important thing for just life experience, and it opens your mind, and trying new foods, new music, new whatever. But sometimes you have to take a step back and realize, oh wow, this is a pretty incredible thing that we get to do all the time. Rhythm is very important in music. Everything is a vibration, right? Like when people really click with a song, doesn't matter what genre it is, it's because they have a physical thing to it. When people want to dance, or if they're jumping at a concert or whatever it is, it's because there's a vibration that feels good. And I think with riding, it's quite similar too, because sometimes if you're feeling really high energy, you might want to go fast and really push yourself, and other days you just want to take it slow and just enjoy your surroundings. So it kind of depends on the mood you're in. But yeah, there's definitely a link between the two. I started doing gravel probably 3 or 4 years after I started doing road cycling, I guess. I grew up in the metal and the kind of hardcore punk music scene, which is kind of all about rebellion and that sort of thing. And then there's a sense of that maybe with gravel cycling, where it's just kind of a bit of a punk element to it, like just kind of a outside the norm kind of a thing. And if you're out exploring somewhere, it's like, oh, I want to try this path today, and like, oh, I found a whole new section I never knew existed. So it's kind of a sense of freedom. Is kind of cliche, but it's true. It's again kind of a very opposite sort of a scenario, which is quite cool. It's like a brand new thing. I love what we do, and it's really cool to be in a new place, and different cities have a different feel as far as how the audience is and everything, but it can be quite tiring, the actual travel part. But a lot of time it's cities, concrete and glass and all that kind of thing, where being in airports and things like that on a regular basis can definitely, it's not really a natural thing for a human to do. I'm from the Pacific Northwest in Canada, so growing up in a place that's got really wonderful nature, I've always had kind of an affinity to that, like camping when I was a kid, and we have like a lake house that was a really beautiful place, so like all those sorts of things always really were special to me. So doing cycling, it kind of reconnects you to that as well. Obviously at a show there's lots of people around, there's always music, loud volume, all that sort of thing. And then coming on a gravel ride, it's often, you can hear me over here, it's the opposite. It's just serene, tranquil, kind of stepping away from a high stimulus environment, and just, it's almost a bit like meditation sort of for me. Like you're just constantly around lots of people, even if they're people you love. It's just, a lot sometimes. So I like to just kind of unwind, and sometimes I enjoy the most just going on my own because it's good to clear your head. Yeah, it's nice to be able to reconnect with that and just kind of leave the world behind sometimes. Before a show, it's often, do play a little bit, but just stretching, and I do my best to just be in the moment and just kind of get physically ready and be in the mindset of it. I'm not a very like a showy person. Like I'm quite a quiet kind of just mind my own business, chill kind of a guy. But then when you go on stage, you're putting on a show, so people say flow state or something. I think that happens sometimes when you're riding as well, like if you're on a trail or something like that, and you're just feeling. You're not thinking about what you're doing, because when you start, like, oh, this part's coming up, or that's when mistakes happen. But if you just feel what you're doing and enjoy it, it's always the best. For a lot of people, music, it can be escapism, or it can be helpful if you're going through a hard time, or a good time even. Like it's kind of like a therapy or something. Like there's something in it for everyone, and it's such a personal thing. Like one person could hear the same song and get a completely different feeling or message. And then kind of similar with riding as well. Like some people are into it strictly for fitness, and some people just want to explore. And there's something in it for everybody. And something like cycling, or music for that matter, it's kind of one of those things where you never master it. Like it doesn't matter how many years you spend playing an instrument or doing a sport, like you're always learning, and it's something that you hopefully enjoy for the rest of your life. So in my mind, I'm still just a kid playing guitar in my bedroom. I still, even to this day, all these years later, don't feel like a professional musician. It's funny, like, I don't know, I just do it because I guess I had a bit of a natural ability to it, and I took an interest in it. So yeah, I think it's something that it just kind of becomes part of you in that sense, because it's something that I don't really foresee stop doing. Even if you don't do it as much later in life, it's something you might, I want to play guitar today, or whatever it is. It's just something that it's part of you now.